The venue stays the same. It's going to be on that highway between Mumbai and Pune, just about approaching the city of Pune in 3 days' time. On Friday, the second one-day international, the second of three, with India in the unfamiliar position of being 1-0 up in the series. So that's something they'll have to mentally deal with, the whole thing of being ahead in the series. And let's start with Team India. We know there's going to be one absolutely definite change. Shreyas Iyer will be playing no part in the next game or the rest of the series. Rohit Sharma will also be doubtful. There's no real need for him to play with the kind of depth that there is in that lineup. So Joy, those two really like-for-like replacements coming.
Yeah, you have like-for-like replacements. Surya walks in definitely, and you have Shubman is, of course, is there. So Surya and Shubman walk in seriously. I think, Kuldeep, they're a bit. Kuldeep hasn't had a great outing. He's probably the only one who hasn't had, with the bat or ball, a great outing today at all. I think they'll give Kuldeep a run because I think they need to build his confidence. They understand that he's a unique bowler, the kind of action he has. He brings something very different. But so I don't see the bowling change for the next match at least, because they'll give Prasidh another chance as well. But the only other change I can think of is Kunal's done well. So Washington Sundar doesn't get a chance. They would probably send Sundar home as well. If Washington Sundar doesn't play the next match, he should be going home as well. There's no point keeping him. We've talked about 6 days out of a 214-day bubble. Let the guy have at least 3 days with family. I mean, those are things which are huge considerations. And, I'm thinking about it, and it's such a strange 2020 now, after 2020, that we think about giving people time off with the family. I mean, 5 years back or even a year and a half back, you wouldn't think of it in the same way as we think about today. But, the word bio bubble becoming an essential part of cricket punditry is something that none of us could have imagined.
Michael, just to finish off on that, some obviously obvious changes, but would you stick with Kuldeep for another game?
Yeah, absolutely. He didn't have a great outing, but how can you expect him to have a great outing when he's not been playing? I think he needs to play all 3 games. He's a part of a winning team. He should take confidence from that he's been a part of India's win today. I don't see why you'd want to change Kuldeep Yadav when he's just played 1 game. Play him in the next 2. Try and give him a bit of confidence. England look like they had a good method against him. They're going to go at him. Particularly when he first comes on, they're going to put him under a lot of pressure. They'll probably hand back and try and do what Bairstow did to him. So he's just got to try and get better and better. I mean, they keep talking about his paces, not bowling quite quick enough. He's just got to be him. He's just got to be whatever he believes in himself at, go and deliver, because I'm sure he's listening to so many people. You got to bowl it quicker, you got to do that, you got to do. Well, he had a lot of success a couple of years ago, and he's got to remind himself that he has been a good bowler and he can get back to that form. And he's got to do what works for him. He shouldn't need to listen to too many, maybe 1 or 2 people that are close to him, but he has to tell himself that he's a good bowler. He's got a few tricks, and it was a difficult night tonight, but if he plays the next 2 games, I think he'll get better and better.
Yep, it's often that's something we've said about Kuldeep. It's not necessarily about what comes from here, but what comes from here, and I'm sure he'll be all right very soon. But from England's point of view, maybe a few reasons to make a couple of changes. The intent is not going to change. Maybe they'll dial it back a couple of notches, but we haven't seen enough of Reece Stockley, Michael. Parkinson, yes, we have. Liam Livingstone, another one who obviously, because of the leagues that he's travelling in, has been exposed. So do you expect all 3 possibly?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, Reece Stockley, I think, will come in for Mark Wood. I think the rest Mark Wood. Parkinson, does he come in for Tom Curran potentially? I can't see that, Adil Rashid will miss out. Do they need 2 leg spinners? So Matt Parkinson might have to wait for another game and Rashid will miss the last game. Livingstone, I think he'll probably play if Morgan or Sam Billings isn't quite right. We saw them both pick up a niggle, so we'll have to wait and see on that. But England will make changes. I've no idea, to be honest, how they're going to go, because they've surprised me all winter with their selection. So I've no idea what they'll do, but they'll certainly make changes for the second game.
Yeah, this is one of those times when it's okay to have a rotation policy. Sam Billings might be a forced change depending on how that shoulder goes. For Owen Morgan, it's just about looking after that webbing. He has had stitches on it, but as Michael said earlier, he is more of a bottom-handed player, so he may not use it as much, but maybe he'd like to give it a rest for one day. So enough players to look forward to for the next game.